the next key moment is that the truth is that you have to really listen to your child, but there comes a time when you have to make really specific choices about care and around palliative care. So Hayden we had chosen not to do the feeding tube. Eventually, in our case, that led to an aspiration pneumonia because he could no longer eat. So he gets a pneumonia right before Thanksgiving and is quite sick, and we start to give him antibiotics. And then he has a couple of days where he decides he's not really interested in drinking water, and I knew that that might be a moment where he was starting to choose that his physical life was over, that he was going to start to go down that road. So I said to one of the nurses, don't force him to drink water. And she said, okay, she knew. And I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, oh my God, we're treating the pneumonia with antibiotics. And I'm telling her not to give him water. We're pulling on the string on we're pulling on this poor boy on two sides here. We're not doing right by him. And it, again, nobody really guided me through that specific choice. But I was like, okay, this is way off. Like, okay, let's let the antibiotics play their course. He's going to get better from this pneumonia. Let's make sure he gets some water so he's not thirsty, the poor little guy. Right. And then we need to sit down. And we had, by this time, and this is something where you led us on, which is this idea of a counselor. We had a pastoral psychotherapist, a counselor, which was, we should get to that as sort of another part of the conversation because it was so crucial to our marriage. I will come back to it, but we were able to sit with her and say, oh, this is a moment now. Like if he gets another pneumonia almost right away, and it's clear that these are things that are going to be happening like this, we can choose not to treat that pneumonia, and that really would be the moment where we are going into palliative care and we're saying, this disease has taken its course, and how do we take care of him in a way that makes him comfortable.
Well, it's interesting because first, with respect to the level of guidance from the medical community about what was coming, I was able to pivot off of the fact that there were key moments, and you described it, where you felt misserved by the medical community around where he was and whether he even had Tay-Sachs or what was it. That when we got the diagnosis, within a couple months, long before she was really sick, I went and made an appointment with our pediatrician, Rick Goldstein. And I was very different from Blythe around this because she didn't want to have the picture of where this was going, which is understandable. But for me, I wanted to avoid that sense of mystification around this. And I said, Rick, I want you to walk me through the entire trajectory of what's going to happen. What are the key moments? What are the decisions we're going to have to make? And he was and is a phenomenal doctor to this extent. She was his first patient that died, so in some ways he will tell you he was learning about how to do this at the same time. But we very specifically came to a strategy that was, there will be no mysteries, and so we knew, and then that was reinforced by your journey again. But I knew a year and a half before she died that there was going to be a moment where she was likely going to have pneumonia. We were going to have to make decisions around whether to treat the pneumonia, that she was going to stop eating and drinking. We were going to have to make decisions around that. So that was another way in which our experiences, your experience was a great gift to us because I made our pediatrician tell me what was coming in very, very specific detail, and that was a response to the fact that there were moments where you felt that it was a mystery.